One of the more controversial parts of the Douglas Promenade proposals is to relocate the horse tram service from the middle of the road onto the walkway, and there's a group of people who do not want to see this happen.
We believe that the Douglas Promenade walkway is one of the great pieces of amenity spaces in Douglas, and that it's being threatened by these plans. We think most of all that it's used day and night by young and old and people of all sort of abilities, people with children, old people just sitting and gazing out to the sea. And at the moment they don't have to think about the safety aspects whatsoever. When the horse trams are moved down here, then they will have to modify their behaviour and it'll be a lot more restricted. Furthermore, we dread to think of the possibility that there will actually be an accident. And there's other things such as the horse muck, which is going to make the place very unpleasant as well. But most importantly of all, whatever reasons we have, the vast majority of people in the Isle of Man just don't want the horse trams on the walkway.
And you would say the vast majority, would you? I know your own campaign group has over 3,000 likes.
Yeah, and the legal position at the moment is a planning application was submitted on the 29th of May. There have been more than 200 objections to that. And that's still the legal position at the moment, and those concerns were raised by lots of different people. One particular objection I like was from Dot Tilbury, who's very well known in the Isle of Man. She said she talks to a lot of people and she's not met one person who supports the scheme.
Now, we have now got some amended plans going in a couple of weeks, I believe, and Phil Gorn believes he's answered some concerns by widening a stretch at the narrowest point of the prom for the horse trams. What would you say to that?
That certainly helps, obviously. The more space, the less risk of the accident, the better use there will be. But nevertheless, there seems to be a terrible communication problem here because the press release on Friday said that the horse trams would remain on the walkway. Mr. Gorn did an interview for Manx Radio yesterday when he was very critical of the 3,200 people who support us for saying, you've got your way now, we've moved the tram tracks back to the roadway, why aren't you happy? For the last year he's been denying that was the original plan.
Do you think it's safer to have them in the middle of the road? We've just had one go past us there.
That's something we've avoided. We've got supporters who fit into various camps. A lot of people think that it's time to forget about the horse trams. Some people think they should remain where they are, and some, like I do, believe that they should stick to the 2010 plan, to have them at the side of the road.
David Quirk, you've got some concerns, haven't you, about the procedures that have been followed here?
The major issue I have is regarding the planning application, like Murray's just indicated, and I'm part of the Facebook 3,000 odd people, and I'm one, and I asked on Monday there how many people have actually objected to the plans. It's 300 now that's put objections into the original application, which put in the public domain. Now the minister's interfering with a natural process that should be going through. He talks about consultation. What he should be doing is withdrawing that application he's got now, putting a fresh application in and going out for consultation straight away. And you're probably wondering why I'm having this pole propping me up. Well, this will give you an indication. This pole is 5 foot tall. 7 foot is the width of a tram. So you can imagine that pole is 5 feet, and 2 feet on top of that makes it 7 feet. So you can imagine on the edge here, where he's intending to put it, that's the width of a horse tram corridor going all the way down the promenade, going through this public open space which has been here for hundreds of years, really, on this particular side anyway. And I'm ashamed of the Douglas councillors for not standing up to defend Douglas itself. They're the guardians of Douglas in itself. They're the elected members. Well, some of them are at the minute. They've got to stand up and say whether they should have the horse cars on the walkway, when I would say no. They should be retained back on the road. Now, there's a legal argument, I believe, between the department and the Borough of Douglas there regarding if we touch the tracks as government per se, then we become responsible. So if we become responsible as the whole of the taxpayers of the Isle of Man, let's have a referendum on that. Let's have a decision. And I believe, like Murray would be, that they're probably past their best. If I was a Douglas ratepayer, I'd be questioning 240,000 a year on the rates bill. That equates to a lot of money to people who are struggling.
Do you think the horse trams have had their day then? Just get rid of them.
Well, I don't. You could probably put them somewhere. And if Marge Stockham was still alive, she'd be saying, and she'd be campaigning on the promenade as well, they should be at Richmond Hill.
Now, you're standing there with your pole here at the edge of the pavement, and that goes out, as you say, to there. Yes. But then you do have quite a long distance before you get to the railings on the prom there. It's quite a big space, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the difficulty is when you get to the other side, when you go over to the other side of Promenade there, Loch Prom, to the War Memorial and the wall there, he goes on the inside then of the walkway. So you can imagine me with my pole now sticking out on the walkway there. You narrow that walkway by at least 10 feet. And I am concerned because I've written to the department, I've written to the minister looking for answers to some of the questions that people are asking me. I've not had one ratepayer or one taxpayer come on to me and said to me, David, you need to keep the horse cars. I may have after this interview, but there's nobody been knocking my door down, and my stance is quite clear, like other politicians at the minute. And I think Mr. Gorn is losing his way on the tracks totally. He's bought the rail, he's bought it with taxpayers' money. He's actually compromising us as a government at the minute.
So his problems might be solved then if he just says, right, no horse trams.
Well, it is, and he needs to stand up. He is a minister of a department which is quite big, and I'm not hearing anything from his members. What is his members saying? Are they supporting it? He's got 5 members in his department. What are they saying? Maybe he's got 5 members in his department so he can get a bit more support.